And I can explain all the things to them, so it's all.
Let's get out of here. All right, Mayor.
Hey, Steve. I'm not sure.
Your meeting? No, it isn't. They just mud. They want to.
Yes.
And. You get it? Thank you. Who wants? Use the mayor. Well.
What time do you?
Let's go, Lou.
So I'm gonna pass it over to you. We'll go with it.
I mean,
Hey, check to see if I don't see if they have to buy the money.
She has. Her mom. Had surgery.
Said it went by your place sometime. Okay, I think we walked a city. Oh, yeah.
What's that bill sign that? Why don't you sign this card for two? You were around, huh?
So he called me.
Oh, back.
Yeah.
that's one thing.
Yeah. Back at second, got you.
Yeah.
And I gave this.
The meeting has already, oh, it's everybody's finished.
I'm assuming, I'm not sure, but it's signed.
Well, criticize you late.
That's the thing.
Yeah. She's looking for PBS. Or she's not. Okay.
Good, right? Good.
Oh,
What is it, Jim?
Might not be the same one. Curtis Randall, we got him up to that. We had one.
My hand.
Yeah.
My back.
Okay.
Thank you.
Why do you see your son? No, he's got flash floods. Cell phone charges. Oh, yeah.
I appreciate it.
Back.
I pray you put it on Facebook.
Well, no, I can't. Nobody talking.
Really? That's admirable.
What's that?
Rhonda had to go get something.
Oh,
Well,
we can start without her.
we can still do.
Hold on a second. The dinner engagement at 6.
Thank you, Goldman.
Yeah, we're gonna make it. Everybody got 3 minutes to speak? 3 minutes, you got the clock? Huh? Need the clock. Run to death.
Everybody sign this.
We'll call this public hearing of the city of Oak Hill to order. The purpose of this hearing is to receive input from the public regarding proposed changes to the Oak Hill City Charter. And if you do have an objection to any part of the charter, you has to be in writing, signed, and present it to the city manager. So before we begin, we'll begin with a prayer and the Pledge of Allegiance, all presented by Councilman Dave Perry.
Thank you, Mayor. We will do the pledge first. And I'd remind all persons who have been in the military, you have every right to salute the flag. At this time, I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, shall we bow our heads? Our Heavenly Father, we thank you for another day. Lord, we thank you for the gift of salvation, the gift of eternal life. As we come together as a council and as persons from the community, may all that be said and done be respectful of one another and one another's position, whether it be pro, con, none, or some, and may it be correct. Lord, we ask you to bless each one who's here tonight, each one who's taken time out of their schedules and away from their families, and especially the council members who represent some 8,000 people in the city of Oak Hill. I know that each of the 7 do so with good intent and a good heart. Also, our brother Tom Oxley, who is not with us tonight and who has not been with us for some time, would you be with him and his family? Extend to him an extra ounce of grace at this time. Now go with us through the remainder of this meeting. May all that be done in accordance with your guidance and your will. And all of God's people said, amen.
I'm going to turn it over now to the city manager regarding each of the proposed changes.
Mayor,
Sir.
could we request by unanimous consent that Rhonda be allowed to speak alongside the city manager due to her voice is not there by unanimous consent?
Without objection, so ordered.
Do I need to call the roll, sir?
Yes.
Yes, I guess you could.
Mayor Daniel Wright,
Here.
Tom Oxley, Ward 1 council members Diana Janey. Here. David Perry,
Here.
Krista Hodges. Ward 2 council members Ronald Stephen Hazlett,
Here.
Charles Smallwood Jr.
Here.
and Benitez Jackson.
Here.
We have a quorum.
All right, thank you.
We have received 3 objections, one from Mr. Bill Hannabas, one from Krista Hodges, and one from Chris Gill. I've given everyone a copy of Mr. Hannabas's and Chris Gill. If you, would you like me to read those to you?
I have.
Okay. And I don't have I just got Krista, so you don't have a copy of hers, but I will read it. Demita, I'm writing to object section 11 and section 14. Thank you, Krista Hodges, 3/6/2023. Okay, we can go ahead and move into section 6. That is the council and mayor qualifications, terms and salaries, vacancies, power of removal of offices. Officer. You'll see in the red, that's what has been recommended to be deleted. And they are recommending that to see West Virginia Code for authority to remove council members from office. So that's the change that the Charter Ordinance Committee is recommending. And the membership of the political. Okay, yes, what is in red is what's going to be removed. So do you have any questions or do you have any statements regarding that change? Okay. We'll move on to section 7. Oh, I'm sorry, that was that. Section 9, meeting of the council, rules of procedure journal. So the recommendations on it is that council may also change the date of the meeting if circumstances make it necessary to do so. So that's the only addition to section 9. Oh. Okay. And that was, and then also, if we can go back to section 7, they are recommending that the qualifications of the voters registration, that each person who shall have resided within the territory of the city for 30 days next preceding an election held with therein, it's changed to 21 days. So is there any questions or comments on that? Okay, so if there's no questions or comments, we'll move on to section 10. Powers of the council, appointment and salary of the city manager, qualifications, removal, appointment of chief and members of police department. As you can see, they are taking out during his tenure of office and adding the city manager shall reside within the city during his/her tenure. No councilman or mayor during their term of office and for 1 year thereafter shall be eligible for appointment as city manager. That's the ordinance committee's recommendation. Do we have any comments, questions regarding section 10? All right, we'll move on to section 10A. Powers and duties of the mayor. On item 2, as you can see, it's been marked out in the absence of the mayor. The council by majority vote shall select one of its members to serve as vice mayor and preside at the meeting of council and otherwise perform the mayor's duties during the mayor's absence. This selection shall take place at the first meeting of the newly seated council. Okay, are there any questions, comments? Sure. Section 11, council not to interfere in appointments of removals. As you can see, this is what is in the green area. It's been added. The recommendations of the Charter Ordinance Committee. Would you like me to read that? Can everyone see it?
Well, I'd recommend, since you've read all of them up to this point, that we continue with the same
Okay.
protocol.
The city manager will advertise all vacancies for a period of time that he/she deems appropriate for the position being advertised. Interviews for the vacant position will be conducted by the city manager and the head of the department in which the vacancy occurs. The city manager will make a recommendation for hiring to council, and council may approve or disapprove the recommendation. If the recommendation for the position is not approved by the council, the hiring process herein outlined will start over. the city manager may terminate the employment of any employee working for the city of Oak Hill except those appointed by council. Either the employee being terminated or the city manager within 7 days may request a hearing before council for a final determination of the employee's employment status. So we're going to wait until after all of them are read that you want to make your comments. Okay. Section 12, powers and duties of the city manager. These are just little simple changes. It was added for he or she will be responsible for the council for proper and efficient administration of all affairs of the city, and to that end, subject to the provisions of the charter, shall have power and shall be required to. And as you can see, they have recommended to delete and accept as he may authorize the head of the department or office to appoint and remove subordinates in such department or office. And then they made a small change in D, as him may seem desirable is taken out and council is added. And again, they've made a small change in E for him or her. Okay, this brings us to section 14, treasurer, where they made the change to have the city manager shall appoint the city treasurer as per section 11 of this charter, and serve as his, her will and pleasure, and shall fix his, her salary. Okay. Section 16, administrative offices and departments. They are recommending the number 2 be taken out completely. And that is the council may by ordinance create, combine, change, and abolish offices, departments, and agencies other than those established by this charter. The council may assign additional duties or functions to any office, department, or agency created by this charter, but may not discontinue or transfer any function or duty assigned by the charter to any particular office, department, or agency. We'll move on to section 19, ordinances. They're recommended to remove 1 and 2 and referring the city of Oak Hill will enact ordinances in accordance with 811.4 of the West Virginia State Code. Section 20, effect of charter on existing ordinances and administrative rules and regulations. The committee has recommended to remove and without limiting the generality of the foregoing, the ordinance relating to zoning of the city for business, building, and other purposes as adopted on the 7th day of January 1946 shall remain in full force and effect in all respects. And they just made a small change. And the next sentence, as practices that are inconsistent or in conflict with this charter shall, unless sooner repealed or modified, continue in full force and effect for a period of 60 days only. And at the end of that period shall, to the extent of such inconsistency or conflict, be of no further force or effect. That brings us to section 22, preparation, submission, and adoption of budget. The city manager shall prepare a budget in accordance with West Virginia State Code and present it to council for adoption by the date established by the West Virginia Auditor's Office. And then the remainder is going to be removed if approved. Section 30, preservation of prior taxing powers. They're deleting that and adding the city shall have all powers of taxation as prescribed by 81311 of the West Virginia State Code. And that's it. So would you okay. So at the meeting next month, we will determine, the council will determine whether or not that they'll go forward with these changes or they will abandon these changes.
Is it
So
next month or next Monday?
Next Monday, the 13th. So, yes, and we have some speakers.
Rhonda, would you add one other comment to that? And I understand that anyone who has placed an objection may have time to withdraw that if they so choose.
Yes, you'll
Correct.
have, yes, you'll have
Yes.
10 days to withdraw your objection. After tonight, you will not be able to make an objection. However, you will be able to withdraw your objection within 10 days. So,
And the second, the 13th meeting we're talking about was unknown to council until this evening as a result of Attorney Fowles' recommendation as he read the code in the chapter. So we're not skewing things, we're just adhering to what is required that we were unaware of until today.
We was unaware of what? City council meeting on Monday?
No.
Oh,
no.
okay.
That objections could be withdrawn and that the
Okay.
council would have another time to vote to proceed or not proceed with placement on the ballot.
Okay.
I will be glad to read this code 848, an alternate plan. Just so that everyone can have the information. I think you can never go wrong
There you go.
with more information.
Sure.
And it's the second paragraph. If on the date and the time and place set for the hearing, objections to the amendment or amendments are filed and are not withdrawn, then or within 10 days thereafter, the governing body may abandon the proposed amendment or amendments to which objections have been filed. Or it may submit the proposed amendments or amendment either as a unit or separately at the next regular municipal election or at a special municipal election if such governing body by the affirmative vote of 2/3 of its members shall determine and specify that a special municipal election is necessary, and if the date of such regular municipal election shall be more than 6 months from such date for ratification or rejection. And it goes on. So I will be glad to provide a copy for everyone if you'd like it to have that, and or you need to review it.
Thank you, Madam Clerk.
Thank you.
All right. It's not necessary to speak against it if you have already submitted your objection in writing, but you can if you so desire. So I think Mr. Elshire, weren't you the first one to sign up?
Okay, thank you this evening for having this meeting. First thing, I'd like to congratulate Benitez and his coaching staff on a couple of great wins this late in the season to put them in the state tournament. Good luck against South Charleston, I see.
Well, we're gonna win one more. to get
Okay,
started. We're gonna
okay.
win Wednesday.
I'll
But thank
correct-
you.
I'll
Thank you.
correct Fred.
Yeah.
But anyway, the only one I'm opposed to tonight on the charter is number 11, giving the council a chance to enter into the hiring of the city employees. To me, they're underlying, what they're going to do is they're undermining, to me, the city manager and the department head. Department head, I know when I went to a job, I had to go learn how to operate 3 pieces of equipment. And it was up to the foreman or superintendent to take me out and watch me do that. They never once called, and nothing against the secretaries or anyone, okay? They never once called a secretary or anyone up in the office to come out and to approve that. It was up to the foreman. Elshire could do the job. And that's the same thing with, I'll take Data as an example. Him having somebody come out and work a backhoe. I don't know how many in that area worked a backhoe before. But Day's been around for years. And for him to say, yeah, this is what we need. And then it comes before the council and the council says, no, something, you know, this is not the right guy. I don't think that should be that way. I think you really need to depend, they have been in the past upon the city manager and the department head. And so to me, it's just, and I know it's been said and been denied, but it really becomes political. I know people don't agree with that, but it does become political. And I disagree with, like the guy I was talking with today, it's for the future. Laying a foundation for the future of city of Oak Hill. And like I said, it's, I just don't agree with, the city council having anything to do with the hiring of city employees. And, I know people may disagree with me, but that's how I stand on it. I just wanted to let you know tonight. I appreciate your time.
Thank you, Mr. Alshire. Has anyone else already signed up after Mr. Alshire? I mean, other people can speak, but I just wanted to see if, I will go down that list first. Thank you, Mr. Bragg. Thank you, thank you. Mr. Ayers, I think you're next.
Well, I got a couple things. Number one, I'm against number 11 also. Y'all voted to hire her city manager. I think she should have the same power as Bill did. I mean, I don't think every council member should pick and choose who works in the city. I also think you handed me this letter tonight. I should have till next meeting so I can read through all of them and decide which ones I want to object to. And then you vote on it the following month. You say you got 10 days to rescind if you want to change your vote. Well, you're going to vote on it 7 days from now. So what good to having 10 days to take your offer back? You're voting on having the right to change meetings. You already do that without changing this. So I think we should have more than just tonight to submit, being I was just handed these paperwork when I walked through the door.
May I just,
Go ahead.
Mr. Alshire, all of, Mr. Jim, all of these have been on the agenda. The section 6, 7, 9, 10, 10A, that was back in December.
Well, like I
They
said,
already had, they've already had one reading on that. And then the section 11, 12, 14, 16, 19, 20, 22, 30, they were on the fall, they were in January. So you did have time to review that. Also,
I didn't make
this
it
was,
to all.
this was published. And we had to wait 30 days before we could have the public hearing. So it was put out there for the community.
Well, I haven't made it to all the meetings because y'all have changed some of them.
We're required to have a first and second reading. And anytime we have a change to the charter, we have to have a public hearing. And that's this is where we're at in this stage.
So when will
So-
y'all make the changes? At
The-
this coming week's meeting?
As I read in this Article 848, what will happen is that we'll wait 10 days, which they'll take this up on the next meeting, whether to proceed with going ahead and with abandoning all these sections or proceeding to go forward with it on the ballot. So that's where we're at.
There's been,
If I just heard you correct, you said you're gonna discuss it at
And
the
there's
next
been-
meeting, but
And,
you're gonna wait 10 days. It can't both be the same.
and also, Mr. Ayers, there's been objections to every one of these sections. So it will have to be determined whether to abandon the charter recommendations or put them on the ballot.
Okay, so I have to make my submission tonight
You
before
have
I
to make
leave.
your submission tonight, but we already have an objection to all of the changes.
Which means one objection is all that's necessary. That doesn't deny 15 to sign,
Yes.
but one person objects and it places it in that procedure as she's described.
So in other words, there's no sense in even filing an objection because they've already all been objected to.
So, yes, you will.
Okay, so there's no
If
sense in
council-
even filing an objection since they've all been objected to.
Yes,
Yeah.
you are
It's,
correct.
it's gonna all go to the ballots, what you're saying.
No,
If,
no.
if council does not proceed further, it dies. If they vote to go ahead and put it on the ballot, then you will have a decision on whether you want this.
That's what I'm
passed.
saying.
Yes,
Council has to approve it to go to the ballot. If not, it all dies.
yes.
Okay.
The second time, right? And I guess these are a matter of public record. So anyone that would like a copy of the written objections would be entitled to it. They wouldn't have to FOIA it. It's a public document at this point.
Yeah.
Jim, listen to that. I said, I would say that anyone who has filed a written objection is now part of a public record, would not have to be FOIA'd. And if you would like a copy of them, which clarifies what Rhonda's already said, that every one of them has been objected to for change by one person, one presentation.
But my question would be, you've all been objected to, they've got 10 days
To rescind their objection. They don't rescind it. No, it won't go on the ballot. Then council will vote again whether to accept the objection or not. If they accept the recommendation, then it will not be placed on the ballot. If they reject the objection, the council, then it will go on the ballot. So the council gets a second look at it, or a second opportunity, or second time to decide yes or no, based on the objection. Okay? Maybe I helped a little bit. I'm sorry, Ron.
All right. Bill Hannah-Bass is the last one who signed up.
Thank you all. Good evening. I have objected to all amendments to the charter. However, the reason I objected to all of them, I don't know if you're going to itemize them, or you may choose to lump them together on the ballot. So there's one yes or no, or you may itemize those on the ballot. I didn't know which direction you were going to go into, so I had to, I object to section 11 and section 12. If those two sections are abandoned by council, I will withdraw the objection to the other amendments. Do you all understand?
So I'd address this question to the city manager, discuss with Rhonda. It's my understanding, if I'm correct, that even if we voted on the 13th, your objection still would be received. And I will state publicly that I would suggest that we take them one by one and not collectively. I think that's what you're, and I'm just one of,
Right.
and if anyone else.
Not to
like-
interrupt you, Bill, but so
Sure,
we
go
can
ahead.
vote on the 13th, we do it one by one, so we can take, like, if he says. 11, we
If
can
that
take
is the
if we want.
motion, then we'll,
Okay.
the council at that time. And I just said, my personal opinion would be to take them one at a time. But even if we didn't do that, well, yeah, I'll just leave it.
And it's my understanding, I could be wrong, it's my understanding that they can be listed on the ballot, those two different ways too,
True.
individually or as a lump sum.
True.
So, but anyway, I will withdraw all except 11 and 12. If you all abandon 11 and 12. And I think that if you don't believe it could happen right now, I would ask every member of council to be open-minded to the fact and look down the road 10, 20, 30 years. And I believe this does open the door for political hirings and firings. And maybe not now, you wouldn't agree that you all would hire somebody based on party affiliation or something crazy like that. But I think it opens the door down the road for that to happen. I also believe that you have one of the best city managers any city could have. And I think it hurts her authority as a city manager not to be able to hire. I think it tremendously hurts her authority not to be able to terminate an employee with a horrible employee. That council has basically hired. And I know it takes a long time sometimes for council to come together, and I think you can look at, as crazy as it sounds, dilapidated structures. You know how long that takes sometimes for council to come together on that. And I think it would be horrible for the morale of the city, the other employees, to take that long and to have to come before this body. And historically, you've hired professional city managers that fire and hire for good cause. And you have to trust that lady. She's a good city manager, and I trust the next one and the next one and the next one will be as well. So I respectfully request you all to seriously consider abandoning section 11 and 12, and I will withdraw. I can't speak for anyone else that objects, but I will withdraw all the rest of the objections. And I also, and I mean this as respectfully as I can say it. The feeling I have for the authority of not just Demita Johnson, but the position of city manager. I encourage, if you all decide to put that on the ballot along with the other amendments that are pretty mundane amendments. I will encourage citizens that I talk to vote no. And I mean that as respectfully as I can. And if anyone, I think most of you all know my phone number, but if any one of you all or anyone would like to talk to me further about it, I'm all up for, very polite, respectful debate about it. So I appreciate your all's time and consideration. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Bill.
Thank you.
Mayor,
Yes, sir.
did I understand that, Bill, that we'll have that in writing prior to the 13th? You're withdrawing every objection to everything but 11 and 12. That's up to you.
If you want to take that into consideration, you could, you can make a motion next Monday night contingent upon the withdrawal as promised by Mr. Hancock. Or I will,
You could
I
be
will do it
present.
beforehand, before next meeting, however you all. I'll give you.
I think it's entirely up to you. And just like I've given you my word that I am, and on the ballot, I would say further, that anything that goes on that ballot ought to be individual rather than collectively. Thank you. Got you. Thank you.
Mr. Hannibal, I would recommend, since you did send one in, that you replace it with another written one rather than just say upon contingent on what you.
And that's what he said he would do.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, it would just you're withdrawing.
Everything but 11.
Is there anyone else who wants to speak? If so, come on up to the podium and make your objection known as well. If you do have an objection, make sure it's in writing, and then you can present it up here as well if you want. No one does? All right. Anything else?
Mayor, I would
Yes.
just suggest one thing.
Yes, sir.
Everyone's been allowed to speak.
Yes.
As Jim said, he wasn't really aware, or he was unaware that he could file an objection. I would say, let's take a recess. And anyone else that would like to write an objection, maybe 5-minute, then let them submit their objection tonight. Because this is the last time that an objection would be received. And that's just a suggestion. Or a unanimous consent that we do.
It
that.
is true that there can be no objections after tonight. This is it, one shot deal here regarding filing a written objection. So Mr. Ayers, if you have something you want to file tonight in written form, if you do, we will take a short break. If not, I'm going to make one announcement and adjourn this meeting.
And that's for anyone.
Yes, sir. Yes, yes. Do you have something you want to write down? All right. Well, we'll take a 5-minute recess. Mr. Perry. Sir. Our recess time is over. Back to order. Madam Clerk, you have anything else to add to this hearing tonight?
We did receive an objection from James Ayers, and his objection is to all of the sections 6, 7, 9, 10, 10A, 11, 12, 14, 16, 19, 20, 22, and 30. And then I got an objection from our councilwoman Diana Janey. She's objecting to section 11 and 12 also. And then we've got a letter from Mr. Hannabas withdrawing objections to the charter amendment for all sections except 11 and 12, contingent upon council abandoning sections 11 and 12.
Whoa. Contingent.
Contingent.
So if we don't abandon 11 and 12, then the objections are all stands and we'll vote them individually,
Correct.
as I hear that. Okay,
Correct.
that wasn't what I heard him do, but I understand. Contingent, okay, no problem. That's a quid pro, which I didn't understand that initially, but that's okay.
Anything else? All right. I want to make one announcement to the people here tonight, citizens. I think the city clerk gave out one of these to each person on the 18th of this month here in City Hall. There will be a presentation by Larry Rowe, who's a member of the House of Delegates and an attorney in Kanawha County. And he's going to be talking about his book on the life of Booker T. Washington's boyhood home in Malden. I have a copy of his book. It's fairly substantial and quite an interesting read. He was to be here in Black History Month in February, but he's in the legislature, so he got to the point where he could not be here. So he said the best time would be March 18th. So that's why it's in March, not February. It was because of his schedule. So if you can show up on the 18th at 1 o'clock, a Saturday in this chamber to listen to Larry Rowe's discussion on the life of Booker T. Washington. If you want to know more about Booker T. Washington, there's a biographical sketch of him on the front of the card. So I pass that out and urge you to consider that on the 18th at 1 o'clock. With no other business before this city council and this public hearing for the city of Oak Hill.
We adjourn.
Meeting adjourned.